Good morning. Thank you for being with us on THV 11, streaming on THV 11 Plus. I'm Karen Fuller.
I am Hayden Balgavy, meteorologist Tracy Bean back with us for our 6 o'clock hour, and Ashley King returning.
Hey.
This is like when Kelly Rowland and Beyonce performed together again. I can't believe Destiny's Child is back.
That's
so excited.
I know we were both down and out. We'll just call it that for the last couple of days, and we were just calling each other, checking on each other.
Yeah.
You okay?
We're glad
Are
you're
you okay? So I think we're both back, and you may see us pushing each other along in a chair or helping each other up today. But you know, don't worry, we've got
Friends
each other.
help friends.
That's right. It's a mess.
Now I'm remembering how to do all of this again. It's only been like a week and a half, but it seems like, yeah, you kind of forget.
I know. Even just being gone a couple of days, I was doing weather earlier, and I was stumbling over my words, and I'll get back into it. Just give me another half hour. But things are looking good. Yeah, traffic's been pretty good this morning. Of course, starting out with that beautiful sunrise that Ashley will show you here in a minute, and looking out over the city itself, it's not too bad out there. We've got a few clouds and a little pink in the sky there. Looking out over the state capitol, and temperatures aren't terrible either. We are going to get a bit of a break with those temperatures today. 74 is where we're starting out. Again, with clouds, but again, not the clouds that are necessarily bad weather. It's a bit calm as far as the winds go, and that humidity around 93%. So it is a little muggy out there, but temperatures are on the lower side. We've got some 60s and some lower to almost mid 70s out there. So starting out Wednesday, not half bad. And our highs today, 93 here in central Arkansas, but I wonder if we'll get to that. We are going to see some isolated storms starting to move in with that peak heat of the day. So we could top out into those upper 80s and even a little bit lower 90s, but not expecting anything severe. Again, just a couple of heavy downpours that shouldn't last too long, if anything, but a lot of that is going to be, again, off to the east and northeast there, and that's going to be the same as we're heading into the next couple of days. But tomorrow we're going to see that temperature go up a bit, 96 for a high, those upper 90s, and it's going to feel a bit more hot and humid as well, and that sweat fest is back for sure. Those heat index values will be right around 106 here in central Arkansas.
And as you heard Tracy mention a few minutes ago, we still look good as far as traffic goes. We're looking at a beautiful sunrise right now. So not a lot going on our roads, as we can see with the live traffic map, still all green across central Arkansas. But it is still very early, so we'll keep checking this throughout the morning, and we'll give you another update coming up in a few minutes.
Developing this morning, the U.S. has launched a new round of airstrikes on Iran, targeting more than 80 sites after what officials say were Iranian attacks on commercial ships near the Strait of Hormuz. U.S. Central Command says the strikes hit air defense systems, command networks, and anti-ship missile capabilities. The Trump administration also reimposing economic sanctions on Tehran, rolling back a key part of the ceasefire agreement that had temporarily eased restrictions on Iranian oil sales. Iran is calling the move a violation of the agreement, while the escalation sent Brent crude oil prices up more than 5% on Tuesday. Gas prices here in Arkansas already climbing after the latest U.S. strikes. According to AAA, the state average rose about 3 cents overnight to $3.45 a gallon. The national average also moving higher, now standing at $3.79.
In Maine, the Democratic Senate nominee is facing growing calls to end his campaign. Graham Plattner has lost support from voters along with local and national Democratic leaders after a new rape allegation has surfaced. Plattner denies the accusation. CBS correspondent Jared Hill has the latest.
Plummeting support for once rising Democratic star Graham Plattner amid new allegations of sexual abuse.
I believe that it's time for him to drop out of the race.
Late Tuesday, the Washington Post reported Lindsay Fifield, who says she dated Plattner over a decade ago, told the paper he would pull condoms off. He wouldn't tell me. This after another woman, Jenny Rassicott, told Politico the now Senate candidate was almost blackout drunk when he came over to her house uninvited in 2021 and forced her to have sex with him.
He violated multiple layers of consent that night.
Plattner on social media Monday.
Any accusation of non-consensual behavior is categorically false.
While Plattner weathered the Democratic primary despite numerous controversies, he's now lost nearly all of his big-name supporters, including Senators Bernie Sanders and Elizabeth Warren, and the trust of would-be voters.
It feels like you have somebody that's finally going to speak for the people and that is getting people behind him and wants to make a change, and then it's maybe more of the same.
Maine's Democratic Party also joining the chorus.
Graham Plattner must drop out of this race so that Democrats in Maine can focus on defeating Susan Collins this November.
Plattner has until Monday to leave the race in order for the Maine Democratic Party to pick a replacement by their deadline of July 27th. The party promising a transparent and inclusive process if Plattner steps down. Jared Hill, CBS News.
At least one Democrat has already filed to potentially replace Plattner on the ballot. Party leaders also accuse his campaign of trying to influence the replacement process, an allegation the campaign denies. The head of the Justice Department's Civil Rights Division has sent letters to election officials in all 50 states, warning they could face criminal charges if they knowingly allow non-U.S. citizens to vote or remain on voter rolls. The letters give states 5 days to explain how they're complying with federal election laws. The move comes as the Trump administration continues its push to obtain state voter rolls as part of its effort to identify non-citizen voters.
Now to a THV 11 update. The Pine Bluff City Council is making a major change to who runs the city's aquatic center. Leaders have voted to return control of the facility to the Parks and Rec Department after a series of recent incidents. City leaders say the change comes after reviewing at 2 separate incidents at the facility. One involved 2 teenagers who were later arrested after police say a weapon was brought to the center. The other happening when 84-year-old Iredell Collins died after she was found unresponsive in the whirlpool, prompting a 10-day closure while state and city investigators looked into the case.
I think the council realized with the information that I pulled together from the report and from other data that it was the best way to go and the best thing for the city.
Last night's decision reverses a 2024 ordinance that made the Aquatic Center its own department within the city's government. And staying in Pine Bluff, parents, educators, and community members are working to build more support for local schools. A new community group held its first meeting last night, focusing on how residents can stay involved year-round. Public Schools Strong brought people together to discuss the future of the Pine Bluff School District and how the community can play a much bigger role. Organizers say recent concerns, including a multi-million-dollar phishing scam and the district's F rating on the state accountability report, showed the need for a more consistent approach.
We just want to bring structure, and that's what Public Schools Strong does. It literally supports the issues in public education. We want people to walk away feeling empowered, feeling like they have a voice in this education system.
The meeting introduced residents to the organization and how they can get involved. Organizers say the goal is to create a long-term community effort that supports students, parents, and educators beyond times of crisis.
Arkansas schools will now have more flexibility when it comes to how they use some federal education funds. The U.S. Department of Education has approved the state's Returning Education to the States waiver, giving state leaders more control over the process. The approval allows Arkansas to cut back on some federal administrative requirements, simplify funding processes, and provide more options for rural school districts. State leaders say the change could help direct more resources into classrooms.
Less paperwork that our districts and our state have to provide to the federal government, fewer tests that our students have to take, and more flexibility for our teachers so they can focus on their real job, which is educating our kids.
Education officials say the waiver will also reduce duplicate reporting and give schools more freedom to make decisions they believe can improve student outcomes. Now let's check back in with meteorologist Tracy Bean and the forecast to help you plan your Wednesday.
Well, not too bad. We're starting out with mostly sunny skies, a beautiful sunrise out there to kick off midweek here. We're going to start to see clouds building in a little bit later this afternoon. We could see a few of those spotty storms popping up with that heat of the day, and that could keep temperatures down a little bit. and looking for, again, those highs in the upper 80s, lower 90s across central Arkansas. But we will start to see that heat rising as we're heading into the weekend, and Thursday and Friday anyway. And then we're going to start to see maybe a bit of a downturn, roller coaster ride as we're plummeting as far as how it feels. And that's because there's some rain headed our way, and that could impact your weekend plans. We'll time it all out for you and let you know what we know at this point coming up.